Good evening, everyone. This is the Roxbury Township Board of Education, July 14th meeting. Calling to order. You have the notice, please.
The Roxbury Board of Education is meeting in regular session for discussion on business before the board tonight. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the public's right to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of public bodies at which business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with provisions of the Act, the board has caused written notice of this meeting and copies of its agenda to be transmitted to the Roxbury Register, the Daily Record, the Star Ledger, the Municipal Clerk, the Roxbury Public Library, and the Roxbury website, roxbury.org. Notice of tonight's meeting has been posted in the board's business office.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bonilla. Mr. Botero.
Here.
Mrs. Colucci.
Here.
Ms. Galdieri.
Here.
Mrs. Hernandez.
Ms.
Ms., thank you.
Here.
Thank you. Mrs. Hopkins. Mrs. McGregor.
Here.
Mr. Mildy.
Here.
Mrs. Purcell.
Present.
Ms. Shenik. We have a quorum.
Okay. We have a resolution to meet in executive session. Would somebody like to motion for? Valerie? Second? Sharon? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? right, good evening. We are back from executive session. We do a roll call, please.
Mr. Bonilla. Mr. Botero.
Here.
Mrs. Colucci.
Present.
Ms. Galdieri.
Here.
Ms. Hernandez.
Here.
Mrs. Hopkins.
Here.
Mrs. McGregor.
Here.
Mr. Mildy.
Here.
Mrs. Purcell.
Present.
Ms. Shenik. We have a quorum.
Okay, we're going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and after the pledge, we're going to have a moment of silence for Colin Robertson, the class of 2022, as well as Mr. Joseph Mascott, who was a teacher here for many, many years. Okay, Dr. Santora, you're up. It's going to be a presentation on NJGPA Spring 2025 results.
All right, good evening, everyone. It's nice to see some people in person, and I hope that some people are tuning in from home. I wish everyone a happy summer. I'm here to speak tonight about the district's the spring of 2020-2025, the NJGPA results for the district. So what is the NJGPA? It is a graduation proficiency assessment that is required by the Department of Education, the state of New Jersey, for all 11th graders. Certain students in 12th grade who have not met the proficiency requirements may have to take the test in their 12th grade year in order to be designated as graduation ready. So when students take the assessment, they take the assessment in two areas. One is English Language Arts and the other is mathematics. And their performance is ranked as either graduation ready or not based on cutoff scores. As I've outlined here, the assessment measures ELA proficiency, and those components are tied to grade 10 standards. So we have students in 11th grade taking an ELA assessment that are tied to the prior year's standards according to the New Jersey Department of Education. In the area of mathematics, the components measure a student's proficiency within the area of Algebra 1 as well as geometry. So, students have to meet a threshold score of 725 in each of the components of the assessment in order to be considered graduation ready. If those proficiency measures are not met, students either have to retake the assessment, they have to demonstrate proficiency on alternative measures, or they complete a portfolio appeal process. Okay. I do want to take a moment to recognize and thank the district's partners with Linkit. For those of you who don't remember, Linkit is a data analytics and warehousing platform that assists us with a number of different areas, including benchmark assessments and data analytics. So once we received our NJGPA results, I was able to work with our representatives from Linkit to prepare the data analysis we'll review tonight. Okay. So, when we look at the 2020-2025 results, we are looking at a total number of students that are in the far right corner, which is 579 total, okay? That encompasses students who are in 11th grade as well as a small number of students who are in the 12th grade. Just so you understand, you'll see a metric or indicator under grade 12 of an indicator of less than 10. The reason that's important is that the Department of Education has specific requirements around participant groups under 10. You can't necessarily report on their individual scores for fears of breaching confidentiality. So for the purpose of our discussion tonight, we'll be talking about our district as a whole as well as our grade 11 performance. So this is a representation of our students, the number of students who've taken the assessment over the past 3 school years. Okay. Here, you'll see a demonstration of our students in terms of those that have been qualified as graduation ready. For 2025, that's in the far right corner. You'll see in the area of English language arts, we have an 84.2% level of students who are graduation ready in the area of English language arts. In mathematics, that number is 62.5, leading to an overall district metric of 73.3. If you look at this slide, you will see that our performance is represented for 2023, 2024, and 2025. We can see here that the percentage of students who has been characterized as graduation ready has decreased in the area of ELA, as well as in the area of mathematics. So we'll get into a little bit about what that will look like in the year to come shortly. This is another representation of a similar statistic. So some like line graphs, some like bar graphs, but for the purposes of this slide, it just demonstrates that 84% of our students in grade 11 are graduation ready in English language arts, whereas in mathematics, that number is 62%. Why is that important? In mathematics, that means 38% did not perform within the graduation ready band. It signals to us we have more work to do in preparing our students, and that starts tomorrow and continues. This is a similar representation, but it does look at our performance in ELA and math as compared to the state. So you'll see on the far right corner for 2025, our ELA numbers compared to the state's proficiency rate of 80.7. In ELA, in mathematics, it's 58, and overall 69. So we are slightly above the state's expectations in these areas. As with any data presentation, it is the district's responsibility to examine subgroup performance. So here we're talking about subgroup by race. So we have the subject area on the far left column, and then students are breaking down by their race and their performance over 23, 24, and 25. And as you can see, as expressed earlier, all subgroups, with the exception of our students who identify as Asian, have demonstrated decreased performance in terms of being graduation ready. This is another representation of this data for 2025 based on our subgroups by race. Here we're looking at our subgroup by race in subject area over 2 years, okay? So why is this important? Because we examined it by 3 years earlier, but this is an easier metric. So we see, by and large, our students have maintained similar levels of proficiency, with the exception of our students who identify as Hispanic. That decreases 7%. So any decrease is important and something we're going to attack, but it's important to highlight the larger group number as it pertains to what we're going to do to move forward, okay? Here, our student performance is broken down by gender. So you'll see male and female students for 23, 24, and 25. It's also broken down here further, so we see that 73% of females who took the assessment this year could be qualified as graduation ready versus 27% not. And the same thing for males, it was 71% graduation ready and 29% not graduation ready. This is overall performance. Okay? And comparing last year's performance to this year, we see that our female students' proficiency rate in terms of being graduation ready has dropped off by 7 percentage points, while our males has dropped off by 4 percentage points over the last 2 years. This is our representation of our student performance as broken down by subgroup based on program. So we have the subject area of ELA, and then we have the group really is students who receive ELL service, students who would be qualified as receiving free and reduced lunch, those who have a Section 504 plan, those that receive special education service who have an IEP, our gen ed students, and all students. Okay, so over the past 3 years, you see on the right, graduation ready has decreased in all groups to certain degrees, some slightly, some larger, and that is for ELA and math across the board. This is the 2025 results based, broken down by subgroup for program. Obviously, the most alarming is when we look at our students who receive ELL service. We have a 4% passing rate and a 96% where students are characterized as not graduation ready. I do want to signal the fact that all of these results concern the district, but this is the most discrepant that we're going to see. Okay? This is comparing our students by program in terms of subgroup over the past 2 years for in which the NJ GPA was administered. Okay? And section 3 talks about what we're going to do. Okay? So all of these assessment results are important. It is not the sum total of a student in terms of their capacity to contribute to their school, to their community, but it does signal to us that we as a district need to do more for students. I also want to be very clear in the sense that I've worked in this district now going on 3 years. I have never met a harder working group of people than our teachers. And so when we talk about assessment results, we're talking about more that we can do, but I assure you our teachers come in and they give it their all each and every day. But that doesn't mean we can't improve in terms of what we're going to do. I do want to credit Mr. Crispino, our high school principal, his assistant principals, as well as our curricular supervisors, who have gotten to work very quickly once we receive these results to talk about what we can do to move the ball forward. So some important things that the public and the board should know is that we're looking at our curricula, because those assessments that we talked about, they measure specific standards. Through Linkit, we're able to drill down to those areas, those target standards that our students are not demonstrating proficiency on, and we're going to further embed those standards into our curriculum across not only our high school programming, but we're going to bring this down to our middle school programming as well. Because the sooner that we can prepare our students for these kinds of standards and educational activities, the better and more proficient they're going to be, and the stronger their skills are going to be. We have a partnership with Linkit, not only for data analytics and warehousing, we have a partnership with them for assessments. We administer their benchmark assessments in most grades 3 times a year. We're going to use that data plus what we glean from IXL in real time. We're going to target certain standards, we're going to teach to those standards, and then we're going to measure through these assessment modules how our students progressing. So that as we prepare throughout the year, we're continuing to inform our instruction based on real-time assessment data. Another piece that we've gleaned is that the questions, the way they're presented on the NJGPA and the NJSLA for that matter, is something that our students need more exposure to. Our students may have the knowledge, but they may not be able to answer the question in the format that it's presented. So we're going to infuse more of these type of questions in our work with our students. At the high school level, Mr. Crispino has planned a number of homeroom challenges where each week students by homeroom will complete different NJ-GPA type tasks in order to increase engagement. And lastly, we're going to be specifically looking at our supports for ELL learners. We saw those scores as being very discrepant. Now, students who receive English as a second language service have a very dynamic picture. We want to make sure that we're honoring their needs and their abilities as we program, and we want to make sure that we're seeking out each and every opportunity to supplement what we're providing to those students in order to meet their evolving needs. In the area of mathematics specifically, we're going to be making some changes not only in terms of our curriculum, but also the structure of our program. So for the start of the upcoming school year, we're going to have a designated space for a math instructional center at Roxbury High School. This is incredibly important because it hasn't been in place for a number of years due to space constraints. Through some careful planning, our high school principal has designated a space where students will always be able to access in order to receive support. Our secondary supervisor, Ms. Kraus, will be working in department meetings and PLC, which is professional learning community, to make sure that we're looking at the standards, evidence statements that are gathered as part of the NJSLA and NJGPA, and making sure that we're breaking them down and infusing that kind of work into our instruction on a continual basis. We talked a little bit before about familiarity of items. Teachers are going to be using do nows and other practice materials on a regular basis, so that way we're continuing to target those areas of need. We're going to infuse more technology and make sure that platforms like IXL or DeltaMouth are used with thought and deliberance. Okay? And in the area of ELA, I want to credit the secondary teachers 7 through 12, because it was over the course of this year that these teachers came to me as well as came to the principals and talked about the need for supplemental resources. Teachers have recognized that their students need explicit instruction in vocabulary, sentence structure, and written expression. So through the support of Mr. Crispino and Mr. Gallagher, we've identified those supplemental materials that will be used uniformly. Why is this important? Our students are demonstrating a need for more explicit instruction. We see that in the classroom work, but we see that very obviously in these NJGPA results. We need to start those kinds of experiences much sooner. So the work builds upon itself, right? Whether it's in ELA or mathematics. So starting in 7th grade and building up is a really great way to attack some of these things. I do just want to say again that when looking at these results as a district, we have a great number of strengths. Our students are incredibly hardworking, our teachers are dynamic, and our parents are supportive. What we need to focus on now is addressing things deliberately and thoughtfully, and making sure that we're continuously looking at what we do and how we do as it pertains to proficiency rate. Not because we want to change a score, but what we know is that our students need these skills in order to achieve success in the future. So with that, I will open it up to questions if anybody has any. Thank you. Mr. Botero.
So, Dr. Santoro, I'm going to put myself in my position when I was going through grammar school, right? So, ESL was unfortunately the program that I had to go through, even though I was born here in the States. But what I did notice is that my household structure was very different than one of my friends, right? And I come from a Hispanic background, versus majority of my friends were Italian, Irish, and so on. And I noticed that their parents were in a position to provide the support that's needed for their kids to excel, where my household was 2 blue-collar factory workers that just didn't have the skill set or the knowledge to be able to provide me the guidance. My sister was there, and luckily she was. So I feel as though a lot of the demographic issues are things that are probably stemming from home, that some of these kids don't have the support like others do. So how do we, not that we can fix that, but how do we address that? Because if you look at the scores, right, this has been an ongoing issue from when I was in kindergarten, right? I mean, how do we correct that?
So a part of that it speaks to one of the district goals that we had for the past year, and one that we'll continue to have, is around parent engagement and education. And so one of the areas of focus last year for our district was parent education, but specifically working with our parents of multilingual learners. So the district has had for many years a 3-year plan to address students' limited English proficiency. And part of that has to be a parent advisory and training component. So in years past, that was weaker than it needed to be. So this past year, we planned a number of trainings, and that will continue this upcoming year. So emails and communications to families of multilingual learners will go out end of July, beginning of August, and we're going to work to see when it's best to schedule those meetings and when it's best to schedule those trainings and what those trainings look like. Because what we're finding is exactly that it's not so much that the student themselves is struggling, but how can the parents support, and what can they do? And are they available? If they're working, who's home with the child? So if you are home with your child in a limited capacity, what can you do in that limited time? And anything that a parent can do with a child is always going to be value added. The other piece to think about is making sure that as a district, we're incorporating what's known as sheltered instruction into our academic programming. So that is a method and a practice that the district has received training in over the past couple of years and will continue to do so that teachers, when they're supporting multilingual learner, know how to differentiate appropriately. So that will continue. I met with the representatives that will be working with us this upcoming year last week to talk about what the program should look like for the upcoming year. Reason being, our students who receive this support, they're changing, right? And the needs of those students are changing. So we can't wait. We have to continue to forge forward. So those are some of the things that we're going to do with families. The other piece of the puzzle here is that we recently were made aware of our students who are coming to us with families that are non-English speaking. They're getting caught up in the registration process. So that alone is problematic because students are being placed maybe not in the right grade level because the parent can't communicate meaningfully. So last board meeting, we approved for all of our ESL teachers to work additional hours so that way they could support the registration process. And why is that important? Because it's the first opportunity for a parent to engage with someone differently than they currently are in the district, right? Someone who can communicate with them, who can talk to them about maybe the concerns that they have. And we know that much more about a student and their background because we have someone who can speak to the parent in the language they're comfortable with. So those are some of the things that we're going to do. And we want to make sure that we give parents the opportunity to tell us what they need, right? But sometimes you can't get to every parent. So what we're going to be leveraging is that parent advisory committee to say, how can we better reach these families and give them support that they need? And it's a process that is ongoing, but it's one that's, of course, hugely important. That's a great question. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Santora. Joe, correspondence? Looks like we have something.
We actually do have correspondence. So Mr. Mildy has been invited to the Eagle Court ceremony of student Michael Minio, who has earned the rank of Eagle Scout. For his Eagle Service project, Michael led a group of scouts and adults in creating a picnic area at Black River Park in Roxbury. They cleared out many invasive plants and weeds to create a nice open spot. In their new space available, they placed a picnic table and a bench, which they built themselves. Creating the area led to increased use of the underused park and made a view of the water, which was previously hidden by the woods. What I want to say about this is I actually fished that last weekend. It's amazing what they did with that space there, because you can now actually fish that whole. And they've fenced off a piece of it for some growth of plants, but it's beautiful. You never realized how pretty that lake was until now. So Michael's Eagle Court of Honor is on, give me 1 second here. Where is it? July 26, 2025 at 2 p.m. at Redeemer Lutheran Church, 203 Eland Avenue, Succassana. And you can reply if you're going. I'll give you all of this, Mr. Mildy. But you also can send congratulatory correspondence to Sarah Rawa, 9 Mildred Terrace, Flanders, New Jersey. And that's for you. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Joe.
I'll be there. That's my son's scout troop, so I'll be there if anyone wants to join me.
No student rep. I have no comments. Dr. Santora, do you have comments?
You know I do. I want to wish everyone a happy summer. I hope all of our students, families, and staff are taking time to relax as we think about the far-off future of the next school year. I do want to mention that I'm happy to report that a number of students have reached out to me with questions about the summer learning activities that have been provided by the district. I want to applaud our students for emailing me directly, taking the initiative to do so. It also tells me that they take their education seriously and that they're working on the things that we asked them to do during the summer. So keep up the great work. A lot of students are in district receiving support and working hard over the summer. We have a number of programs, including our extended school year program and our Title I summer learning program. Both are taking place at Nixon Elementary School throughout the month of July. And I want to thank our support staff, our parents, and our students themselves for working so diligently in this much needed area of service. Earlier Earlier this month, all Roxbury school leaders convened for the first of 2 days of administrative retreat. Why is this important? Because this is an activity where the leadership team comes together to talk about the ideals and needs of the district, to plan the proposed goals for the upcoming school year, and to plan on very different processes and procedures that are integral to the successful operation of the school district for the year. So I want to thank all of our principals, supervisors, central office staff members for a wonderful day of really rewarding thought work. The second day will take place at the end of July, where we'll continue to plan for the upcoming year. In the world of Roxbury High School aviation, Dr. Godfrey shared a number of accolades with us that I'm happy to report. Aaron Pinero, who is a rising senior, earned one of 80 nationwide AOPA scholarships for $12,000 for flight training. So congratulations to Aaron. Dr. Godfrey himself was named the Civil Air Patrol Northeast Regional Teacher of the Year. He was one of 7 finalists at the national level, and he was just given word that he was selected for this year. So congratulations, Dr. Godfrey. He will be attending an awards ceremony later on in the summer. I want to acknowledge a few resignations that are reflected on our agenda tonight. So our Assistant Business Administrator, Kathy Kolbush, has recently resigned from the district as she has accepted a position as the Business Administrator in High Point School District. So Kathy, congratulations for your... Thank you for all of your hard work, and we wish you the very best of luck. You will be missed. We also will be saying goodbye to our assistant principal at Eisenhower Middle School, Ms. Christina LaMonica, who has accepted a principal role in a different school building outside of the district. So Ms. LaMonica has been with the district for a number of years, has done a great job working with our students, families, and staff. We thank her for commitment and service. Both positions will be filled after thorough searches with the goal of appointing candidates at the August 2025 board meeting. Also on the agenda, we have the retirement of Cindy Perez. Ms. Perez is a long-standing employee who served here at Lincoln Roosevelt as the secretary to the principal. She is a valued and talented professional who will be missed by all, including and especially me and Mr. Argenziano. So, Ms. Perez, thank you for your many years of dedication and service to the district. You will be missed. We wish you weren't going, but we're very happy on your retirement. Last week, the district received word that we can once again apply for this preschool expansion grant. For those that aren't familiar, this would, if awarded, give the district the opportunity to implement full-day universal preschool for students who are preschool age eligible within the district. Much like we did last year, the district has a plan to carve out a number of in-district classrooms for preschool, as well as partner with local area daycare centers for this service. There will be a more thorough presentation on the preschool expansion process at my July 24th Board of Education Superintendent Coffee. That will take place here in the Lincoln Roosevelt School Auditorium. The application must be submitted by August 21st. So please, members of the public, be on the lookout for more information about my Superintendent Coffee, but also a survey. The survey will be sent out to parents of preschool age eligible children. We'll ask you for your interest in participating in universal preschool, as well as your preference on where you would like your child to attend. Please know it is a preference, it is not a guarantee on where your child can go, but more information will come out about that later on in the month. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe, anything to report on your end?
Yes, sir. So everything Dr. Santora said about the preschool expansion grant, just times 2. Want to discuss, we finally received the IDEA allocations for this upcoming school year. Looks like the district will be getting approximately an increase of about $20,000. However, the non-pub saw a decrease of about $10,000. We still have not received the ESEA funding, that's the title grants, federal grants, but we were told to expect possible 20% decrease. The other things I have on here tonight, you will see on here regarding donations. We have 2 donations. We have the donation of an aircraft that is coming from Utah for our aviation program, and we also have a donor who is donating the cost of the transportation for the aircraft. And the transportation is involved because it does involve taking off the actual wings of the plane to get it here and then reinstalling those wings once it's here. Then we also have to lay down some anchors to hold the plane in place when it gets here, because it's a small aircraft and wind could topple it over. So that's exciting. This is something, we were getting an aircraft last year from South Carolina. Somewhere along the way, that whole donation fell apart. It looks like this is going through this year, so we are excited about that. Last thing I have on here is Kathy, who's leaving, who came to us in 2021, right at the end of, well, we want to say the end of COVID. July, yeah, so we were still in the heat of it at the time. I want to thank Kathy for everything that she's done. She's really helped me these last 4 years. Holy smokes, these last 4 years, and she's definitely going to be missed by myself and my office. And she was an asset to the district. I'm glad she's moving on. You know, at some point, you get, in this position, you get to a place where you want to take the reins. So it's completely understandable, and I wish her the best. And thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Carol, I believe you said you had some changes to the minutes of the regular board meeting of June 9th.
Yes, it's a minor change, but on page 16 of 31, when we had voted on the two as education resolutions, my comment was said to be, Ms. Shenick agrees with the committee and will vote to accept the committee's recommendation. I actually did not say I agreed with the committee. I don't think anybody on the board, none of us can agree or disagree unless we're privy to all the information the committee had. What I had said was more in the line of, I respected the work the committee did, and I would vote to accept the committee's recommendation. So I would just ask that the agrees with the committee be stricken and just say that I will vote to accept the committee's recommendation. And I've actually marked it, the page of that, and I'll give that to Kathy, if that's acceptable.
Yes, Kim.
I didn't notice anything substantive, but when I looked at the minutes, there was a lot of typos this time, like a lot of typos. So if someone could just run a spell check before we post them, that would be great.
Okay. Carol, since you want those changes made, would you like to motion for the approval of the corrected minutes from the regular board meeting of June 9th?
Yes, I will.
So-
I'd like to move the minutes of the regular board meeting of June 9th as corrected, or as amended. Did you want me to move the executive session minutes too, and that? Or we do that?
We'll do that one
it
separately.
Okay.
Do I have a second? Eddie? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay. Now, moving on to the minutes from the executive session on June 9th. Would someone like to move that resolution? Anybody? Sharon?
That's seconded.
Second, Ann. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Committee reports. Community Relations, Val.
Yes, we met on July 8th at 6 p.m. virtually. We discussed Meet the Candidates Night, which was not on the agenda, but should have been. We discussed Distinguished Alumni nominations and Old Sucky Sunny Day. And our next virtual meeting is Tuesday, August 12th at 6 p.m.
Thank you. And Milo's not here to give the report for education. Is somebody on education that would like to provide that report? Anybody on education? Val? What's that? You don't have it in front of you? You got it? Okay.
I don't have my notes.
Okay, so the Education Committee of the Board met on Monday, July 7th at 6:30 virtually. The following items were discussed: the NJGPA testing results that were just presented on, the WIDA access testing results that were obtained by the district, those will be disseminated to parents, as well as the NJGPA, we've already done so, and I provided an update on the Roxbury High School scheduling process. The next committee meeting will take place August 11th at 6:30 virtually.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
And facilities?
Yes, we met on July 8th. We talked about at the high school getting a new scoreboard. We also talked about at the high school about expanding the courtyard that's in the back by the cafeteria. We also talked about the weekends at the building checks that our security will be now doing the building checks. Okay? And that was it. And we'll be meeting again August 12th at 3:45, and it'll be virtual.
Thank you. Carol, Finance?
Yes, we met on finance on July 8th. It was actually a short meeting. We talked about the health insurance options for the employees that will be proposed, and Integrity Consulting had put together a plan comparison. We talked about the upcoming school board's conference, October 20th to the 23rd, and we talked about a plane donation, an airplane donation, which is on our agenda this evening. And our next meeting is, when did you say, Ann?
It will be July 12th.
August 12th.
Oh, August 12th. What did I say?
August 12th?
Sorry, it's August 12th at 3:45, and it's virtual.
August 12th. Thank you.
Okay, Sharon, Personnel?
Sure. We met July 10th, 4:30, virtually, and we discussed various personnel changes, including our sad departure of Kathy. And we will meet, we will meet August 14th at 4:30 virtually.
Thank you. And Policies and Governance, we met on July 7th at 6 virtually. We just discussed, a board member requested that we revisit the time frame, or having a time frame with regards to media challenges. Right now, it's basically following the 12-month recommendation of the Freedom to Read Act. Just extending that a little bit. It's going to be on here for first reading, and that was all we covered. Our next meeting will be August 11th at 6 p.m. virtually. Do you have anything for your last report on sustainability?
Just that before I leave, I'm working on identifying the action items that that are going to expire, so that there will be a roadmap for whoever takes over to know what they need to focus on for our first submission this year. And on a personal note, just thank you to all of you. It's been such a pleasure to work in Roxbury, and it's a very bittersweet departure, but I appreciate all the support.
Well, thank you for everything. Appreciate it. And now, we're going to have a public hearing regarding the superintendent's new contract. We will conduct a public hearing regarding the new employment contract for Dr. Santora. Following this public hearing, we'll take action. So if anybody has any questions or comments about it, it is open for discussion. Given there are no questions, I'll close the hearing now, and we will vote on that in personnel. Public comments. Do we have any public comments for agenda items?
We do. We have one public comment on agenda item from Annette Brooks.
Is the mic up here?
Is the mic up there?
Yeah, it's up there. Just see if I can switch it.
According According to the New Jersey School Board Association, a school board has a dual role: to represent the concerns of the citizens, taxpayers, and parents to the school administrators, Dr. Santora, and to represent the needs of the students and school district to the citizens, taxpayers, and parents of the community. The school board does not operate the district on a day-to-day basis. That is the job of the superintendent, who is the district's chief executive. Rather, the school board sets the policies, goals, and objectives for the district, and it holds the superintendent responsible for implementing the policies and achieving the goals. Tonight's agenda is highlighting a number of issues with how the current board is working, specifically Education Resolution 1. The superintendent should be setting the agenda, not the Board of Education. The Board of Education should be adding things to the agenda only when it is really absolutely necessary, not as a way to override the superintendent. The district has a policy for reviewing books. It was already approved, and it's been in use for over 2 years now. Not only have you voted against your own policy by turning down the recommendation of the committee, but now you're going completely against that policy by making your own decisions about books in the library. A committee selected by your chief executive is made up of administrators, teachers, parents, students, and community members, and they have read and discussed this same book twice and given the same recommendation twice. You are making your own decision and overriding what all of those on the committee have recommended. It is a complete slap in the face to Dr. Santora and to anyone who works on that committee. The board is giving the appearance of running the district in an executive order style rather than approved procedures, which goes against the complete role of a Board of Education. One board member should not be making a decision to override what a committee and the district superintendent has chosen. You were voted for the Board of Ed to make decisions that are in the best interests of every student in this district. And although I understand it is difficult to separate your personal beliefs from the beliefs of an entire district, we are a diverse town with many different beliefs, and every student must be considered and represented. You should all be ashamed of yourself for the way you've.
Thank you. No more? That's it? All right, that brings us to our action items. Finances Resolution 1 through 55. Does anybody have any questions on the finance resolutions 1 through 55? If not, Carol, would you like to move resolutions 1 through 55?
Yes, I'd like to move Finance Resolutions 1 through 55.
Second? Eddie? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Bottero,
Yes, I'll apply.
Mrs. Colucci,
Okay, yes on everything except I have to excuse myself on number 8, on line number 6. But yes on everything else.
Mrs. Galdieri,
Yes.
Ms. Hernandez,
Yes.
Mrs. Hopkins,
Yes.
Mrs. McGregor.
Yes on everything, but I need to recuse on number 8, line number 9.
Just give me 1 second. Yeah, that's all.
Yep.
Okay. Mrs. Hopkins, you should recuse on travel 8, number 8.
Yeah, 8, number 8.
All right, yeah. Please recuse me on line number 8, number 8.
You got it.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
my correction.
Mrs. Purcell,
Yes to everything, but I'm going to recuse on resolution number 8, item number 11, everything else.
Ms. Shenik,
Okay, I'm going to abstain on numbers 2 and number 3, the bills list, and on travel request, I'm going to recuse on 4, 7, 13, and myself, number 15. And yes on all the rest.
Mr. Mildy,
I am recusing on Resolution 8, Item 13. Yes to everything else.
passes.
Okay, it brings us to education. There are 9 resolutions, one of which is at the request of a board member to have on here to limit the access of the book Genderqueer by placing behind the counter the social media, or the media center. So we'll vote on that one separately, and then we'll do 2 through 9. With Milo out, would someone like to move this?
Just for clarification from Mark, Mark, do they need to do 2 motions?
I would do 2 motions.
Okay.
Since it's 2 separate.
Okay.
Yes.
And,
Want me to do, so I'll do the first one.
sorry, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Do you have a second?
Oh, second.
Kathy? Any questions or?
Yes, I have a point of order. Our district policy 9130 and regulation 9130. District policy 9130 and regulation 9130, which govern public complaints and grievances, and this process requires that any board action, this is quote, any board action to remove material will be accompanied by the board statement of its reasons for the removal. There's no statement. This is not something you can vote on without a board statement following your own policy. That's my point of order.
Understood. In discussing this with Dr. Santora, our position was that we're not removing the material. It's being moved behind the media center desk, so for that reason, we did not believe that a statement of reasons was required. We're not removing it from the curriculum, which is really what the policy is concerned with.
Removal from access, general access to behind the desk, I believe, is a removal. And I think the newer law makes that more, I would like to see guidance on this, because I don't see how removing it from general circulation where somebody can go in and look at it versus having to have a parent grant permission before somebody can look at it is not removal. It's 2 different approaches. It's not like you can walk into the library and ask to look at it and be given it. So it is removal from access. It's a removal from access.
I understand that. I think my position is essentially that the policy is really concerned with removal from the curriculum, and the new law, I understand the new law is certainly addresses more things than is currently encompassed by the board policy, but that doesn't go into effect until December of 2025, so we can't rely on that quite yet.
I understand, but having a board action like this without reasons, to me, is impermissible running of the schools. You're telling the schools without giving the information that is reviewed by the book committee and just telling them, no, we want it where we want it. And that, to me, is an impermissible running of the schools. Plus, I have not heard any board member give reasons other than I don't like it, I don't want my kid reading it, which are also not reasons that are allowed. Personal preference is not a reason to remove a book. I just want to state that this is, to me, this is a violation of our role and our duties. And I understand that you're reading it a certain way, but removing it from access to the general population is a form of removal.
I understand.
So to that point, the request that I have received, it was purely just on, it's not developmentally appropriate. Among
You are not
other things.
educators. How do you gauge what is developmentally appropriate? There's 18-year-olds in the high school. They're full adults. None of you are
That conversation can
qualified.
go both ways, though, too.
No, it could. But my whole point is, that's a personal point of view. You have no reason, it doesn't remove the merits of this book. This book is an award-winning book, which is on the list of the media policy. It won a Stonewall Book Award. It pertains to the required materials that the state has told the schools that they have to have on the shelves. What's interesting to me is that members of this board can pinpoint exactly how many LGBTQ books there are on the shelves. You had, 2 years ago, you had a list of 11 books you wanted taken off. They were all LGBTQ. No, you're not fooling anybody. We know this is an attack, and this is shameful. And again, I strongly believe that this is going beyond our responsibilities as a board, especially because the reason is that it's not developmentally appropriate. None of you have degrees that warrant you to judge that.
So, just as a point of clarification, I think if the request that was made from the board member was specifically for the reason that it was not developmentally appropriate, then I think when the vote is taken, that it needs to be stated that the why this is being proposed as essentially a reason. I don't have a problem with that. I think that's okay too, since that's the way the request was made by the board member. So it's resolved at the request of a Board of Education member that the Roxbury Township Board of Education approves to limit access to the book Genderqueer by placing the text behind the counter of the Media Center, and the request was made on the basis that the book is not developmentally appropriate.
We'll have to motion for this again.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
I think that makes the most sense.
Okay. So, as Mark stated, the request to move Genderqueer behind the book, limit access by placing the book Genderqueer behind the counter of the social media center is being made at the request of the board member because the material specifically is not developmentally appropriate. Would someone like to move? Kim?
Yeah, just the comment I wanted to make, as somebody who read the book on the committee, I know a lot of the concerns of the book developmentally, inappropriate, kind of resolve. People keep referring to like a single page in the book that is a concern, and I guess I'm always concerned about not even this book specifically, but just books in general, not allowing access to information. I thought as a book overall, it had a lot of good parts to it. It talked about growing up, and the character, really went through a lot to discover who they are, and I think that story could be good for high school students. My concern is that sometimes, people want to judge a book by a single page as opposed to the overall wholeness of the story. And to me, that kind of reflects on how sometimes people look at one aspect of somebody's life and focus on that one aspect that they don't like, and then, deem that person, a bad person because I don't agree with them on that one thing. And to me, like, this discussion kind of reflects our society, what we're going through as a society as a whole, and just, I would just encourage everybody to look at the whole picture, both for any book and for people as a whole, because, every book and every person here has more to offer than just a single page. So that was my take on the book, is it's worth it overall in spite of perhaps a controversial page. So, thank you.
Carol?
Yeah, to take Ms. Hopkins' point is that, and one of the things I had stressed last time is that I respect the work of the committee. They did a lot of work. I don't think any of us here, unless we have read the book and also looked at the list of criteria, the educational criteria and the sociological criteria, I don't know how we can pass judgment on this book. The committee did a lot of work, established, as you said, one bad part or whatever, is outweighed by the other mitigating factors. It's like mitigating versus aggravating factors when you do anything in court or anyplace else. My biggest concern, however, and I do agree, it's a slap in the face to the committee that did all this work and debated and engaged in, looking at the book and actually reading it, unlike most of us. But the policy is very clear, and it says, no challenged material may be removed from the curriculum except by action of the Board of Education. No challenged material may be removed because it presents ideas that are unpopular. Any board action to remove material will, W-I-L-L, will be accompanied by the board's statement of the reasons for the removal. Now, I know what the interpretation is of our council, but then Regulation 9130 goes further and says, the board will receive the report of the committee. If the board acts to remove the work completed, the work complained of, or to limit access to the work, the action will be accompanied by a statement of reasons for the removal or limitation. That's pretty clear. That's clearer than the actual policy. So I think we're directly in violation of the regulation. And what is the big deal about if the board wants to remove it behind the counter, which is definitely a limitation, that can't be argued it's not, why not just give a statement of reasons for the public? So, there's such a thing as transparency. And I believe maybe the public would like to know why it is that you feel compelled to remove this and limit it and go against the recommendation of your own committee and violate your own policy. So we do need a statement of reasons. I think that that's clear in both the policy and more clear in the regulation because it's a limitation of the access to that book.
Right, and that's why my recommendation was to change the language of the motion, that the motion was being made because the contention was that it was not
Well, I can't hear you.
developmentally
Actually,
appropriate.
it's hard to hear because the fans and
Can
everything.
you not hear me? I'm sorry. I said that was why my recommendation was to change the language of the motion so that it was clear that the reason this recommendation was being offered and this motion was being made was because the vote was as to whether or not it was developmentally appropriate. So that was, in terms of a reason why, that was the reason that was offered for it.
I'd like to say, thank you, Carol, because I was looking at the regulations, which is, I blocked out for a second on that. The statement then should have been on the agenda. If you don't have the statement for public discussion ahead of time, how are the people going to be able to discuss what the board statement, and it's also, and I'm going to be picky about this, it says reasons. It doesn't say reason, apostrophe, S, apostrophe, it says reasons. So I also challenge that there has to be more than one reason why it's being removed. This is written as it's written, it's our policy, and I think it behooves the board to really follow this because it's something that can be challenged, and I think that especially since it's bordering, not completely, again, running of the school, because you're challenging procedures set before. This is like the second time this is on an agenda. I mean, you're just going after something you don't like, and it's pretty apparent.
So I have seen there is not much litigation over these specific types of challenges. However, there is at least one that I'm aware of where it was based upon one reason, and it was based upon the whether or not the book was developmentally appropriate. However, I mean, it is certainly the prerogative of the board as to how they want to handle this in terms of whether or not they feel that the statement of the reason given is sufficient in order to fulfill the policy or not.
But there's also the other point of order that this was not put on the agenda with the statement of reasons as required by the regulation. It's not just giving the reasons, this should be on the agenda. If it's an action item, it should be on the agenda as an addendum or in the agenda itself. And now you're adding it on during the meeting, and that's not appropriate for the public to be able to decide whether they wanted to speak on.
I mean, sometimes things get changed in the midst of a meeting based upon additional information, so I mean...
But this was already in the policy and regulations. This is an additional information that's coming up right now. They should have looked at it, they should have put it on there. If that's what they wanted, this should have been on there. This isn't something that they weren't planning for a while. This has been on, this has been discussed for a while. So I'm not going to be okay with this. I think it's, you know, you're just acting against your own policy and regulations. Are we really going to set that standard for what this board does?
Anyone else? Eddie?
Going to Myrna's point, right, I just think this is being handled incorrectly, number one. Number two, this has been on everyone's agenda for the last couple of years. We all know that. I just think that by us agreeing to this, guys, we're really breaking why we took the oath to be in our seats about what's best for all children, not what's best for my beliefs, number one. Number two, then we're breaking policy. We've been breaking policy, right? If we all remember, right, at EMS, we had the news channel. We were all breaking policy, trying to ban a book or try to put book behind the cabin or whatever the word is. But just my take, I just think we're doing the wrong thing for all kids, right? All kids. That's my message, right? I'm okay, Myrna, from my standpoint. Yes, I understand why you might not agree that they're changing the lingo now. It should be last for at least another meeting. At the end of the day, it's still going to be there, right? We have to accept that, right? Someone's going to push it through. We just have to disagree to it. I mean, that's all we can do.
I'd like
Right.
to see them come up with another reason.
So,
Okay.
So, the one appropriate, it's not a developmentally appropriate action, right? My second thing, and I've been saying this for years, how does anyone make a statement that we are doing this for all the children? You are taking a small group of people, and we are not accepting it for all the children, because there are many, many children that are not accepting this. So I really have a problem with people keep saying this statement, we're doing this for all the children. We need to take that word out, or we need to stop using it. It's inappropriate. It is not for all children. Other children are not accepting of it, like they're not accepting of many other things that are going on. And number three, when this committee came about, we already had a book behind the counter, and you personally have said multiple times that if this was the problem, I wouldn't change the idea. You said that a couple of times.
I've only spoken in executive session, and I would ask that you not discuss.
I'm sorry,
this inside
okay, you're
executive session.
absolutely
Thank you.
500 million% correct. I'm very sorry. I apologize. But I just feel that I'll just stick to my whole thing about it being inappropriate for children in general. And it's not true. It's not a true statement. No matter how anybody wants to slice it in this day and age, it is not a true statement anymore. So I don't believe it's for all the children.
Sharon?
The author herself is quoted as saying that it's intended for audience 16 and up. I don't know if there's a way to limit 14 and 15-year-olds, but we do have 13, 14, and 15-year-olds in the high school, which is part of the audience that it was not intended for.
There's the statement, not for all children.
Anybody else?
That's the statement that is attributed to the author. Have you spoken to the author yourself? Okay, but that's not something that is a reason that you're giving. That's something that the author said.
That was just one other reason.
No, that's not a reason that
So
the
I
board is
had
giving.
one, she had one, we already have one on the table.
Regardless,
That's
this
three.
isn't an
So
appropriate,
there's-
this isn't an appropriate time to do it. This
That's
should
up
have
to
been
you that
submitted.
it's inappropriate. That's
How is
for
it
you
up
to
to
say
me
that
when it's
about me.
in the regulations?
You're calling my choice inappropriate.
All right, guys.
I'm not calling your choice inappropriate.
just
That's, your logic is flawed.
This is going to be divisive forever, so we have to move on. I will revisit this and reread it, just so it's clear. Resolution 1 is to limit the access of the book Genderqueer by placing it behind the counter. The request is being made specifically because it was deemed to be developmentally inappropriate. Ann, would you like to move this resolution?
With the addendum? I'd like to move Resolution 1.
Second. Kathy? Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Calucci?
Yes.
Ms. Galdieri? Ms. Hernandez?
No, and I think it's inappropriate that this board is taking this vote right now. I'm on the board, I'm allowed to talk.
Mrs. Hopkins?
Since all the children means any of the children, I say no.
Mrs. McGregor?
Yes.
Mrs. Purcell?
Yes.
Ms. Shenick?
No.
Mr. Mildy?
Yes.
And Mr. Botero?
No.
Passes.
Okay.
Make a quick comment before we continue, just to make a general statement for the board. I'll give you the mic in a second. Just give me a second, please. Joe will tell you.
When the board is done with their discussion, we've
And
already
it's just- and I'm not
already
looking for
decided to
feedback.
allow you to come up, even
Yeah.
though it was after the time, okay?
I'm just going to make a general statement, right? And hopefully a lot of you guys are thinking about this. Do you realize that none of us, and I mean none of us, had asked his opinion? None of us asked for Dr. Santora's opinion. None of us. Guys, got to think this through. We really got to think this through as a board. Because why do we bring him in then?
I think,
Just something to think about.
I think Eddie, he agreed with the book committee's recommendation. I think that he had previously.
So I think it's important to remember that the policy and regulation talks about the superintendent appointing a committee. What I can say is that the committee reviewed the text, and the recommendation of the committee was that the book stay in circulation. That's what occurred. That was made clear to the board at the time that the committee deliberated, and that was received in written form as well. Okay.
Thanks. Resolutions 2 through 9 for education. We're going to take a separate vote for this, separate roll call vote for this. Would someone like to move education resolutions 2 through 9? Val, second. Eddie? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Botero?
Yes, all applies.
Mrs. Calucci?
Yes.
Ms. Galdieri? Ms. Hernandez?
Yes.
Mrs. Hopkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McGregor?
Yes.
Mrs. Purcell?
Yes.
Ms. Shenick? Mr. Mildy?
Yes.
Passes.
Okay, that brings us to policies. There's one resolution for policies, and this was to essentially review revising Regulation 9130 with regards to complaints and grievances, extending the time period from which an item can be challenged from 1 year to 3 years. Given I am policies, I will make the motion. Is there a second? Sharon? Roll call vote?
Mr. Botero?
Yes.
Mrs. Calucci?
Yes.
Ms. Galdieri?
Yes.
Ms. Hernandez?
Yes.
Mrs. Hopkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McGregor?
Yes.
Mrs. Purcell?
Yes.
Ms. Shenick? Mr. Mildy?
No.
Passes.
Personnel, just one correction, there's 29 resolutions, not 27. This is a big one. Here's where we're going to be voting on Dr. Santora's contract, as well as Kathy's retirement. Resignation, excuse me, a little different. Sharon, would you like to move resolutions 1 through 29 personnel?
I'd like to move resolutions 1 through 29 personnel.
Second? Val? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Botero?
Yes, all applies.
Mrs. Calucci?
Yes.
Ms. Galdieri?
Yes.
Ms. Hernandez?
Yes.
Mrs. Hopkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McGregor? Mrs. Purcell?
Yes.
Ms. Shenick?
I have to recuse on number 1, and on 23 and 24, and I want to wish Kathy the best of luck. It says Mary. on there. Okay, well, I'd like to wish you the absolute best of luck at High Point, but I'm reluctantly voting yes on all the rest, and on you too, so.
And Mr. Mildy?
Need to recuse on item 1. Yes to the rest.
Passes.
That brings us to okay. We have a resolution to meet an executive session at the the August 18th, 2025 meeting. Someone like to make that motion? Eddie, second. Val? All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We have one more public comment.
Jennifer Marquez? Jennifer, just make sure that green light is on. There's a switch on there. It'll be red and then it'll go green. There you go.
Thank you. I wasn't expecting to speak tonight because what I heard last month, I thought that the recommendations were to keep the book there. So I didn't think we were having another vote on this to try to remove it. I am new to formatting and board meetings and all this kind of stuff. I am new to being a public school parent. I've had my kid in public school for 1 year. She's only 6. So this stuff is new to me. What is not new to me is education, because I've been an educator for over a decade. And I have my master's in education, and I do have an understanding of what is and is not developmentally okay. So I have a problem with any book ban because it removes access to knowledge. For whatever reason you want to remove that knowledge, I think it's wrong. So I have read In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. I am aware that there are mass murderers in the world. I am aware of how they think, and I am aware that they exist in this world. But that did not make me a mass murderer. It did not make me want to go out and shoot somebody. Reading a book making you aware that there are LGTB plus people in the world does not make you gay. It does not change you. And if you are a parent of a student who may be a little confused, you might want them to be able to read that book. But if you are a parent of somebody who you don't want your child to ever look at that book, then it is your right as a parent to say, I don't want you to ever look at that book. That's it. But we have no right to go against
30
our
seconds.
our educators' judgment and say what is not appropriate just because we don't think it's appropriate for our own kids. Access to knowledge is important, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Board member comments?
Aye.
Ann?
Well, I'd like to congratulate Dr. Santor. I can't wait to see the future of Roxbury with you being our superintendent. Kathy, I would personally like to thank you for everything you've done for us. You will be missed. So, but I'm not going to say goodbye. I'm going to just say, I'll see you. See you around.
Anyone else?
Kathy.
Kathy?
So Kath, I want to congratulate you also. You will be missed, and I do want to thank you for the hot chocolate that you have been serving us. That was my request, and you've been excellent in providing it. No, but I really do wish you lots and lots of luck, and you will be missed, so hopefully we'll see you Atlantic City or somewhere, and, well, chats. Good for you.
And when you ultimately do decide to retire, let me know. I'll announce it. Anyone else? Oh, yes, absolutely.
So I just want to take a minute and thank the board. I am incredibly honored to be the superintendent, and I take this as such a privilege, and it's a responsibility I take very seriously. Tonight we talked about, in a brief format, kind of where the district needs to go, and we have a fantastic group of leaders behind us, my central office team, the principals, our supervisors, teachers and students, and parents that are just more supportive than I've ever experienced. And I am so honored to be your superintendent, and I cannot wait for what's to come, and I look forward to further partnership. Thank you for your confidence in me. I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Motion to adjourn? Eddie, second. Kathy? Oh, wait, no, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. No, okay.